guess it's good to talk about something. It's the new year, so uh, you know what? All sales forward. We are a go for liftoff. Everything is gonna continue as is. I've been printing my own books, and that's gonna continue. I have some comic conventions I want to get to. Um, I'm gonna try to get to AWA. I'm gonna try to get to AWA. Uh, this year, I'm either gonna try to get to AWA, Dragon Con, or MomoCon. One of those three. Uh, and I'll be selling my stuff over there. So that's gonna happen with that. Uh, so I'm gonna try to make this a forward progress type year. I'm gonna try to not think of anything negative. It's gonna be a all systems go type year, you know. So I'm gonna start streaming as soon as I get better. My upload speed here on this internet is probably like 0.54 kilobytes per second, and that's not very good for streaming video gameplay. Like it looks really bad. If you look at my other videos, you'll see that it's like really bad. So um, I'm gonna try to get the upload speed to a higher, uh, a little bit better. The upload speed needs to be way better because when I try to play a game, like I did a few test videos, and it did not turn out very well at all. As a matter of fact, it was just straight up horrible. Uh, it was like a weird trade-off. Like either the resolution will be very good, and the motion was like non-existent. It was like slideshow. It was like a freaking slideshow of slideshow quality, as in the way that the animation ran. It was freaking horrible. Um, so the trade-off, it's a weird trade-off. It's either shitty quality image and smooth animation on the playthrough, or it's really good resolution and slideshow quality animation. So, uh, you ever try to get your glasses clean and you just can't quite get it? That's horrible. Um, you just can't get it completely clean. It's really annoying. So, yeah, gonna try to I'm gonna have to call Windstream up. I'm gonna try to call them up next week. We're gonna try to make that happen. And I'm gonna try to get my upload speed a little higher. As a matter of fact, way higher because 0.54 kilobytes per second is shit. It's just shit. There's no other way to say it. There's no nice way to say it. For the sake of emphasis, I'm just gonna say it. It's absolute horseshit. So, uh, I got some new games recently. The Steam Winter Sale's going on. Um, I got Titanfall. I got Titanfall 2. I didn't get the first game because the first game was like they said that there was no storyline campaign in the first game, so I went ahead and got Titanfall 2, and I got Borderlands 2, the handsome collection, handsome Jack edition. I don't know what you call it, and I guess it comes with Borderlands 2, and it comes with all the DLC, and it also comes with what's it called? The prequel. I forget what the game's called. Pre Borderlands. I don't know what it's called, but it's supposed to be the prequel game, so it comes with that too. And I think it was like $15. Really good deal. Go over to Steam. They got some really good deals right now. Nobody's telling me to say this. This is from one gamer to another. They got some great deals over on Steam. Go over there and check them out. On Origin, if you're into Origin, they got some good deals over there too. I am not a huge fan of Origin. I wish EA would release their stuff on Steam. It would make things a lot easier. Um, Steam has a big picture mode, which I really like because I can get my controller and then I could just, navigate through that really easily and I can play on my couch. And Origin doesn't really have that. Origin is like you gotta click and all this shit, and I just so what I did is I took Titanfall and I made it so that way it can be activated through Steam, and I can just play on my couch. I love playing games on my couch. Um, I'm finding that with shooters, I really like the mouse a lot more than I do the controller because I can aim way better, you know. So there's that. For 2019, I am really gonna try to make this more of a thing. To make this more of a try to get on Twitch a little more. So I'm gonna try to be doing that. You don't know who I am? My name is William Giovanni Medina. I'm a sequential artist. I do 3D modeling. I do 3D modeling. I I got a manga that I'm working on called Eternal. So I'm trying to do that. I've been working on it for years now. I'm gonna try to start streaming more 2019. I've been trying to get it to happen a lot more lately. I've been using Sony Vegas. I've been uploading to YouTube. I've been doing like a lot of what do you call it? My artwork. I'll upload it to YouTube, like my speed lapse artwork and stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna start focusing on video games a little more this year. I'm gonna try to make it more of more on schedule. I'm gonna try to get on schedule with that. At least an hour per day. Like maybe when I first wake up or something. I need to make a schedule that way I can keep going with the artwork, but I want to squeeze in some video games too because it's content, and also I like playing video games. Oh man, I don't have an affinity one way or the other towards consoles or PC. I know everybody likes to have some sort of fanboyism about it, but I I don't have fanboyism about anything one way or the other. I just like games, you know. Um, I just really like video games. I like third person hack and slash games a lot. Uh, or beat 'em ups. Um, I think since the fact that I think since the fact that I have been a when I was little, my parents got us. It was me and my brother. They got us an Atari 2600, and we played that until our little brother Marco broke the Atari with a spoon. He was a little baby, and he loved playing. And he saw us playing the Atari 2600, and I think he maybe was thinking, "Hey, I want to play too. Let me get this spoon and smack the shit out of it." So he got the spoon and he whacked the Atari 2600 until it broke. And man, we couldn't get it to work no more. That was a big hit on us. We were like, "Oh man, we don't got nothing to play now." So I think it was after that our pops got us a Nintendo, and he got us what was it? It was Karate Kid. He got us the Karate Kid and Super Mario Brothers 3. And he said, if you beat any of these games, I'll get you another one. So I beat Mario Brothers 3. There was the last boss with King Koopa where there's like a brick floor, and then he's hopping, and then you gotta dodge his smashes until he falls through the floor, and then that's how you beat him. Really simple. And I think it was hard to get to him than actually try to beat him. So, yeah, so I beat Mario 3. I tried to beat Karate Kid. That game is unplayable. It was unplayable and it drove me nuts. I could not beat that game. Oh my god. I try every once in a while. I'll fire up the emulator on my computer and I'll try to play Karate Kid, and it is a mistake every single time. I don't throw my controller no more. I used to do that. I got pissed. I don't do that no more. I kind of outgrew that, so I don't throw my shit no more. But yeah, I uh, I couldn't beat Karate Kid to save my damn life. It was crazy. And so, but technically, I did what my dad said. He said beat one of these games and I'll get you another one. And I did. So he got me Ninja Turtles, the first one. You know, the one where you gotta. There was a part that I got stuck on, and this was the part where you're swimming, and you're swimming underneath the water, and there was like an electric freaking there was like an electric, what do you call it, a freaking electric seaweed or something, and it was I couldn't get past that. That was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous game. And the more I see videos of people talking about it, um, the more I see, I keep getting. So I couldn't beat Ninja Turtles. Uh, One day, I was sitting there and I was playing. This is like a few years later. We had the Nintendo for like forever. And then finally, I was playing, and I can't remember what I was playing, but there was a lightning storm outside. So there was a lightning storm outside. I can't remember what game I was playing, but I had the controller on, and I remember, I remember my mom was like, "Turn the TV and the video game off because there's a lightning storm." And I'm like, "What does she know? She doesn't know." So I kept playing, and then all of a sudden lightning struck, and I got electrocuted through the controller, and I threw the controller away. I was like, oh shit. And so the screen was just like a pure color, like purple, and then it flashed red. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And so I tried to turn the NES off and turn it back on to see if it would work. So it didn't. My Nintendo got busted. So it didn't work. So we were without a Nintendo for a while. And then my auntie, my Titi Margarita from the Bronx, she actually brought down and got us a bootleg Sega Genesis. And I remember she got us Sonic 3. So that was really cool. We played that for a while, Sonic 3. And after a while, we finally got a Sega Saturn. And I used to play the Panzer Dragoon games like crazy. I love the Panzer Dragoon games. I actually wound up getting the Panzer Dragoon Saga. I got the Panzer Dragoon Saga game, and when I saw that it was coming out, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be incredible. They said that it was gonna be better than Final Fantasy VII. They said all this stuff. It was gonna be 3D, realistic 3D backgrounds, like real time, you know. And I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be cool. And I saw the screenshots, and back then they had the little magazine for Sega, and I wasn't able to get any demo or anything like that. So anyway, so I saw it on there, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go get this. So I went to the mall, and the day that it came out, I was waiting right there at EB Games, and I was waiting out front, and there was really no line, but I wanted to get there before everybody else. And then I walk in, the guy opens the last thing, the gate or whatever, and I walk in, I'm like, hey man, I know you're probably almost out of this, but do you got the Panzer Dragoon Saga game? And he's like, yep, just came in today, here you go. And I'm like, it's like, there ain't nobody here. Am I like the only one that's gonna be getting it? It looks like it. Nobody else was waiting for this. Just you. I'm just, damn. So I kind of learned something new that day. If you are putting out a video game, make sure that you advertise, because almost nobody knew what the hell I was talking about when I brought up Panzer Dragoon Saga. Nobody knew. Nobody. Everybody knew Final Fantasy because they advertised like crazy. If there's one thing I can say about Sony, it's that they got good advertising. So kudos to them for that. They were advertising out the yin yang. I remember one advertisement for Panzer Dragoon Saga. It was like on MTV, and that was like the only one that I saw. And Final Fantasy VII, I saw them like you couldn't blink without seeing a commercial about freaking Cloud. That like nothing but FMVs about the video game. It was nothing but FMVs, but maybe that was for the best. They actually saw the actual gameplay. I don't think anybody would really want to be all up on that. So I remember a friend of mine actually had a PlayStation. I went over to his house, and he actually got Final Fantasy VII, and he was like, "Oh my god, man, this game's gonna be so dope! It looks like a freaking movie." And then when he started playing, he's like, "This doesn't look anything like the commercial." And I was thinking, yeah, I agree. This ain't nothing like the commercial. The commercial was like a freaking movie. And back then, those graphics were incredible. The 3D models in the movies and stuff like that. They looked incredible at the time. You know, Sega wasn't. So yeah, that's what I learned about that. Two things I learned about it: advertise, and always show the best parts of your product. And Nine times out of ten, you're gonna knock it out of the park. You know. So, so I got the Sega Saturn. I didn't get. I wasn't one of those people that got the PS2. I mean the PS1. But by around the time my brother got, he was working a job. He was working a job, so he was able to get a Dreamcast. And I was working a job, so I was able to get the PS2. So well, he got the Dreamcast first because the Dreamcast came out first, and we played Sonic Adventure 2. We never got, we never got we never got the first one. I know we got the second one. And Jonathan, my brother Jonathan, what game did he get? I think he got like one of those 2K basketball. So he got a sports game. That's what he got. And let me see. Yeah, he got the 2K game. I think he got Ready to Rumble, which is a boxing game, and he got that. He really was into Fallout back in the day when we had a PC. We were able to play PC games. He was really into Fallout and Thief. I remember that. We used to have a Tandy. It wasn't exactly the highest end PC in the world. It, back then, it had one of those keys. That's how long ago it was. It had a key in the PC, and I did absolutely nothing. So there was that. After he got Dreamcast, I I think I worked some hours with my pops, and then I earned enough money to buy a PS2. And around that time, I what game did I get with the PS2? I got Bouncers, and I really like Bouncers. I don't. A lot of people don't like Bouncers, but I really like Bouncers. I thought it was pretty cool. And then I wound up getting Final Fantasy X, and I think I got as far as there's a dragon when you come out the cave, and there's a dragon that he's got like these wings, right? And his wings open up and sprawl out, and they don't have no little middle membrane in the wings. They shoot lasers out the wing tips or whatever. So that's what happened with that. So I was like a real big console guy for a while, and I've kind of always been a little bit behind as far as video game and console. I always get this stuff like when it's on sale, and I think that's more of me being so yeah. I'm always like a little bit behind, but I'm not really like I don't think of myself like a trendsetter. I mean a trend follower. I'm more like I'm just a gamer. I love video games. I don't love video games that are brand new or oh well if it's not new then I'm not gonna play it. That's not the way I am. PS2. Yeah. Um. So I work construction to earn enough money to buy a PS2. Yeah. I played Final Fantasy up until I started fighting that dragon. There's like a brown dragon that shot lasers out of its freaking wingtips. I remember fighting the zombie dragon. I was in the water, and the way that I killed it was really funny. It was strong as hell, and the only way to beat it, well, the only way that I saw to beat it was since it was an undead dragon. I figured, what if I use Phoenix down on it? So I actually threw Phoenix down on that shit, and it actually died. You know, it's undead. It's an undead dragon. So you want to undo. a dead part, go ahead and bring it back to life and see what happens. I was just screwing around. I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, so that's how I beat that. That was fun. I was goofing around. I didn't think it was gonna work, but it actually did work. Um, let me see. So I got the PS2. We played that for years. Wow, like that system lasted forever. Um, so I had the PS2 all the way up until my marriage. We bought a PC. It was Lenovo, and it was kind of limited on the hardware. Sonia was born, and I remember that we were trying to. I actually bought. I was gonna take it to a place to get it upgraded, but I figured why don't I just. Well, I figured okay, if we take it to this place, they'll upgrade my system for me. So I went over there to get it upgraded, and the guy was like, "Okay, here is a list of parts." And I was like, "This is like on eBay." There was a list of parts there, and it was like all on eBay. I'm like, "What if I try to do this shit?" And I called a family friend of ours, and he was all like, "Well, why don't you just do it yourself? I don't want to do it." And I'm just like, "Oh, no, fuck it, I'm gonna fucking do it." So I went ahead and I got a screwdriver, and my baby Sonia was crawling over to see what I was doing. And I was like, okay, son, hold this, sweetheart. And she was holding the screws for me over there while I unscrewed the computer. She's such a sweetheart. And so she helped me upgrade my computer. In her own little way, my little baby helped me upgrade the computer. Her own little way, my little baby helped me upgrade my computer. And I thought that was the best thing ever. It was a little bonding experience between me and my baby. It was great. And I hope one day me and her can put together her computer with her. That'd be so great. Um, Something happened, and then I had to move out of the house, and I figured to keep my mind positive, I figured I would try to take steps to build my own computer. Oh, and I bought an Xbox 360 at some point. I got hired to work on a comic for somebody, and I wound up using some of that money to buy an Xbox 360 after the PS2. That's what happened. So me and our my stepdaughter used to play Gears of War, and it's not really a game to play with kids, but there's a mode on there where you can take the profanities and all that good stuff after the Gears of War one game. So that was fun. After I moved out of the house, then I decided to try to teach myself how to build a computer. So I looked on YouTube, and I had a screwdriver anyway. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to put everything together. I could buy all the parts online and just try to put it together. A friend of mine, Jason, he was like, dude, just make a computer already. I'm like, what? If you got $650, buy the parts and just put it together yourself. You can make a great computer with that. I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't want to get electrocuted. But that's what would happen. I thought I was going to get electrocuted. And I got a device in my chest, so I'm just like, maybe that's not the best idea of messing around with electricity. Electricity and this device don't mix. But I made sure to go ahead and make sure that the power wasn't on when I messed with it, and just plug everything in after that. So I was really careful. Uh, what else? So I did it. Um, when I was first putting it all together, it didn't turn on. So while I was earning the money for the parts, I went ahead and looked through the instruction manual, and it turns out that I needed to put certain little plugs into the prongs on the motherboard So that way you could turn it on from the chassis, which is what I was supposed to do. So I did that. Otherwise, it won't turn on. Period. I don't know why they made it like that. But I got the Asus Z97K motherboard. It was like around $110. And I think that was the first thing that I bought. And I was gonna put it into the Lenovo, but it was SLI with two graphics cards, and it wouldn't fit in the freaking chassis. So I actually had to buy a new chassis because I figured, hey, I got a chassis anyway with this Lenovo chassis. Maybe I could just reuse it, but I couldn't because it wouldn't even fit in there. It was like a MATX chassis, and I had an ATX board, you know. So I needed an ATX chassis. So I went ahead and bought a new chassis. It wasn't anything too fancy. Nothing with little spinners and lights and all that flashy stuff. You know, I just needed something to hold the components together. So that's what I did. About $50, I think that was. So yeah, so yeah, that's over time. I saved up and bought the parts that I needed, and I put everything together as I did it, and here it is now, the PC. I just now bought a 3 terabyte hard drive and went ahead and installed it real quick. And thing that I love about the PC is that with the i5 chip, the i5, I think it's a fifth generation chip, i5 chip with the K on it, so I could overclock it if I wanted. The beauty of that is I could run. I actually tried to run Fallout 4 on it, and I had like maybe 6 gigabytes of RAM because the Lenovo came with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and I was like, this sucks. And it was actually able to run Fallout 4, but the thing about it is, well, I had a 760 graphics card. Let me just say that over here. I had a 760 graphics card, and I was able to run Fallout 4. But since I had 6 gigabytes of RAM, it took forever to load everything. So I was just like, oh my god, this sucks. So when I got the new so I went ahead and bought a 32 gigabytes of RAM kit, and I installed it onto the motherboard. Ran way faster. Um, it loaded faster. Uh, it ran faster. It loaded faster. As far as the graphics go, I needed to tone down the graphics, maybe low, but it still ran pretty good. With the i5 chip, I think it made up for the high-end i5 chip. It made up for whatever the graphics card lacked. I think after I bought the I actually got the 750 graphics card from a friend of mine. The reason that he sold it to me so cheap, it was brand new, but he sold it to me cheap because he just didn't need it. He got a better graphics card. So I went ahead and kept that in there. That graphics card has kept me for a long time. And then I finally got enough money through my commission saved up, and I went ahead and got a GeForce 1060 graphics card because the graphics card, since everybody started doing the whole bit mining thing, the graphics cards have been crazy high. So I wasn't able to get a 1080, but I was able to get a 1060, which was more than enough to handle the games that I wanted to play. Also, I had a little CUDA cores where I could render my videos way faster. So yeah. So yeah, that's my video gaming history from beginning to end, pretty much. So I guess with that being said, the reason why guess the reason why I'm kind of cycling through and telling you all this, well, my gaming history is because I just noticed that the jump from one generation to the next is almost negligible. I like the jump between PS2 and Xbox 360. It is noticeable. You could notice some things. It's kind of slowed almost to a halt, and you're just wondering, okay, what's the next level in our graphical improvements? Because and something that I have noticed is with that new game Atomic Heart that's coming out on the PC. I have noticed that there's this new RTX thing, real time extra, whatever RTX stands for, and it's actually able to have more advanced reflections and more advanced shadows and lighting and stuff like that. Well, really, if you didn't point it out to me like you pointed it out in the video, I don't think I would have even noticed it. Like, I'm like, wow, that is impressive. But while I'm playing, I don't think I would have noticed that unless somebody pointed it out to me. As far as the jump between Atari and Nintendo, there is a big jump there because it was like Atari 2600. You couldn't scroll to the right or left or anything like that. That's a pretty big graphical jump right there. And then they started going to Nintendo, and they made the advancement was with Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers. They actually made the enhancement of, okay, now you can actually scroll to the left and right. And these days, that seems like, well, that should just be that should just go without saying. That's how it should be. But back in the day, that was like revolutionary. And I think around the Xbox is when they had the bump mapping applied, and you can actually play Half-Life 2 on the Xbox, which was, I think, like 2 gens back from where we are now. And then I guess on the Xbox 360, then they started doing normal mapping. So then you realize, okay, the jump between bump mapping and normal mapping, it really isn't much of a difference because they both emulate bumpy materials on a flat surface. That's pretty much what they both do. I think normal mapping is more precise with it than bump mapping is, from what I've noticed on Blender. So, um, and they have displacement mapping also, which also makes all the edges smoother and all that stuff on the geometry and all that. So I'm like, okay, well that's a big step over there, but it's getting smaller, you know. Like from Atari 2600 to Nintendo, that was a revolutionary leap. And then from Nintendo to Genesis, whoa, that is an insane amount of detail added to the sprites. That's crazy. And then Super Nintendo came with the better sound because let's face it, Sega Genesis, with the music was like, I'm like, oh shit, that hurts my ears. I was a big Sega Genesis fan back in the day, but I had to admit the music on that thing. If I turned it up on my speakers, it would bust my eardrum. And so I gotta admit, I gotta give credit where the credit is due. The audio on the Super Nintendo was way better, and also they had 3D graphics on the with the Super Effects chip on the Super Nintendo. The Sega Genesis didn't have that. They tried to emulate it a few times, but it couldn't pull off what the Super Nintendo could pull off. They added a 32X. They tried to make it into that, but then they went, you know what, screw it, let's go with the Saturn. So that was that. So again, big leaps, big leaps. I've seen some really big leaps in game quality and controls. Like if I try to play a hack and slash game back in the day on the PlayStation, in comparison to the PS2, and then skip over to the PS3, the movement and the controls and the gameplay was so much smoother when you get to the Xbox and the PS3 era. When you get to the PS1 era, it's just like tank controls, man. It's tank controls. There's no eight-way moving for the character. It's tank controls. You gotta turn that way and then press forward and shit. Hated it. So my ex stepdaughter back in the day, she actually said, "This must have been amazing for you guys. I mean, as horrible as it is." And I couldn't argue with her. It was incredible to us back in the day that these graphics were happening. In comparison to these days, it's laughable. Um, but the skip up from generation 6 to 7, I guess the step up from Xbox 360 to Xbox One or PS3 to PS4, I really don't notice. I don't notice that much of a change. The particles are where they need to be. The particles, the reflection, the normal mapping, they still use normal mapping to this day. Unless they switched over to displacement mapping or whatever. They don't even use FMVs no more. They're real time acting. They're moving everything real time now. You know? So there's that. And thank you, Valve, for showing everybody that that is possible. Now everybody's doing that, and I kind of like that because it makes things look a little more seamless. You know, Half-Life 2 kind of introduced that into the marketplace. So that's really cool that they did that. I guess the reason I'm talking about this, I was talking on YouTube, and I saw somebody make a comment about some people that just go into this whole thing about PC versus console, and y'all are peasants, you're a peasant, this that. I like what I like. I like video games, and yeah, I can play. And if you like video games, that's great. I don't think you should be strapped down to one. I don't think you should restrict yourself to one. I don't think you should restrict yourself to one mode of play. Because if you do, you limit yourself on the amount of enjoyment that you'll actually derive from those video games. And I think that PC provides the most options, and restricting yourself to consoles limits your options. And I like options. I love options. And I used to be a console guy. But when I discovered what I could do with a screwdriver to make my own PC, and I discovered the amount of freedom that I have on what I could do with my own hardware and software, etc., I'm just like, damn, I was restricting myself. I was a big console guy. And I noticed now that I'm more familiar with the hardware, I only had to replace one component in my computer, and then I'm all caught up to the next generation of video games. And if my computer starts getting a little behind on the times, I could just lower the settings on a video game and I'm good. It'll run nice and smooth, no lag, no nothing, because I lowered the detail settings on the video game. I have more options. I could disable certain things that aren't really that important to the gameplay experience. That's really what it boils down to. Are you a gamer or are you a trend chaser? Are you trying to keep up with the Joneses, or are you a purist? The purist of video game playing capabilities. Are you a gamer, or are you a trend chaser? I bought, and in that argument or discussion, it wasn't even an argument because what he was saying was laughable. I said that I bought, he said, wow, you bought another part for your computer instead of buying AAA video games to enjoy. I'm like, actually, I bought Titanfall 2 yesterday for $5, and I bought Borderlands the Handsome Edition or whatever that thing is, 15. And he's like, "Wow, you got a last gen video game and something from Origin. That's hilarious." I'm like, "You don't seem like a gamer to me. You sound like a trend chaser. You Borderlands is a great video game, and one of those games in that collection is actually a current gen video game. The prequel that came with the combo was a current gen video game. You would know that if you weren't a trend chaser. If you were an actual gamer, you would realize, holy shit, there's a deal where I can buy Borderlands and all the DLC and the new prequel that just came out on the Xbox One for $15. Can you give me a link? I want to play that. Now, if he wasn't so hung up on chasing the trend of keeping up with what's new, he would have found something out. He would have found out that he can play the new Borderlands game and the last gen Borderlands game with all the DLC that came out with it, which is $250 worth of material, I might add, for $15. He would have found out a good deal. I would have linked it immediately. I'm like, dude, you're missing out on a really great gameplay experience. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. You just don't know. Don't miss out because you're trying to adhere to chasing the trend. Don't don't miss out on something great. I I actually bought a Doom package for $5. Got a Doom package, $5. It was. I never got to play Doom. My parents actually, mainly my mother, but my parents, they try to keep me away from stuff that had, pentagrams, satanic shit, or whatever, And so that's I missed out on that. I was young, and I didn't have a computer that could really power that sort of a game that could be great. I was still hung up on the whole console thing. Um, but I figured, I'm killing demons, whatever. So, and I didn't get to play it. So and it's $5 for like 4 video games. That's a great deal. I was raised up to if you see a deal, jump on it. So I jumped on it. $5 for 3 games. So I went ahead and got the package, and it's fun. It's fun. Isn't that really what gaming is about? Having fun, enjoying yourself. I mean, like, whether the game came out 20 years ago, or it's coming out tomorrow, or it came out 2 weeks ago. Fun. Remember that? Remember fun? Man. So yeah, I never got to play Doom. And I got the Z Doom mod. So that would, because the gameplay is squished up if you just play it on Steam. So I'm like, I don't want to play it squished up. I want to be able to fill up my freaking screen here. So I went ahead and did that. And it was fun. I It was a fun game. Yeah, it came out 20 freaking years ago. I don't care. It was a fun game. I play Mario Brothers too on my computer. I play Mario Brothers. There were games back in the day that I didn't even get to play because The games back in the day cost $50 a cartridge. We, I didn't. We didn't. We weren't rich. We couldn't afford all of that. Now you could download the whole on Nintendo catalog on ROMHustler.net or any parallel wherever you choose to go. Man, great stuff. Great time to be alive. Great time to be a gamer. I never had a Super Nintendo. So I got the SNES emulator, um, and I downloaded all the Super Nintendo games, and I got my controller, which handles any video game that you use a controller with. Boom, mapped all the controls, and I played Yoshi's Island because I never got a chance to play it because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a Sega Genesis. And then there was all the Sega Genesis games that I missed out on. I got all those too on my computer. I never had a PS1, so I got those games that I missed out on that I wanted to see the most, and I downloaded them. I got a PS1 emulator right over there on my computer. And again, all I gotta do is map all the controls to my controller, and I'm good. This computer is the most gamer-esque invention that you could ever put into your home. I've lived from the Atari 2600, which again I could play on my computer if I wanted to. I lived from the Atari 2600 all the way up to where we are now with the PS4 and the Xbox One X, Scorpio, whatever they're calling it. And what I could say about it is this is a great time to be a gamer. So much stuff is available these days at the click of a button. Forget about society. Forget about the bad stuff that's going on right now. Focus on the gamer aspect of it, and this is a great time to be alive. Great time to be a gamer. And whether you're on PC or you got a console, wow, so many options. So many options, and I love options. And you love options. Right now is the best place to be. PS2 emulator works on my PC too. It didn't used to. It didn't used to, but when I built my own PC, man, it runs right through the PS2 emulator. I've been trying to catch up on Silent Hill. Yeah, I know y'all probably played Silent Hill a million years ago, but you know what? I didn't get to play it because I didn't have a PS1. So I got the PS1 Silent Hill. I got the Silent Hill 2. I even have the Room, which some people don't. Um, some people don't. What do you call it? They don't count that as a Silent Hill game. But I like it. It's got its own creepiness. You know, I like the concept that there's a hole in your bathroom and you got to go through the hole in different places all the time. It's pretty interesting. Not super creepy, but I'm a hack and slash guy. You know, I like hack and slash games. Emulators. I got emulators, and I got Steam, and I got Origin, and I got GOG. I One of the great things about having a PC is all the options that you get. Um, Shadow Warrior. I love Shadow Warrior. The '90s one is it's okay. It just reminds me of every other game out there back in the day, and it just didn't really stand out. I guess the Lil Wang joke kind of got old after a while. Like, yeah, Lil Wang. I actually like, yeah, I get it. It's a bit. Uh, get it. We get it. Um, the thing that I like most about the remake or the redo of Shadow Warrior is that that character gets a lot more. expanded upon. The graphics are incredible, and so I love that game. That game was dope. I'm still trying to beat it, the first one. And then I saw on Humble Bundle, on my email, it said that they were giving it away for free, and I'm like, the sequel. They were giving the sequel away for free, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta jump on that because I saw when Shadow Warrior 2 first came out, and they actually have RPG elements implemented into it, and I love leveling my shit up. Like Fallout 3, like ever since I saw Fallout 3, I love first person games with RPG elements because I love leveling up my guns. You know, it sucks that not every RPG game can have an action points, a real time bats. You know, because I love doing that. One of the things that I love doing in Fallout 3 is sneaking around the corner, and there is a super right around the corner, and I'll aim my combat shotgun right under his chin, and then I'll press the bats. And it's just in slow motion, everything, all the details and stuff, just go flying all over the place. So it's hilarious. I don't know. I got a messed up sense of humor. Anyways, 2019, I'm gonna be doing a lot more video game centric video. So I hope you all enjoy what I got coming up. You know, that's all for now. I'm out. I guess I'll keep this camera on in case somebody comes by trying to log my hours. I'm trying to become a Twitch affiliate. Um, Even though the upload speed is kind of crappy on my internet, it seems to be doing pretty good with camera footage, as good as that can be.